Dear Ambassador Roet, dear David, we are so thankful for your presence here tonight. May I invite you to come and deliver your speech. Der Botschafter wird auf Englisch reden und ich werde dann nachher die deutsche Übersetzung verlesen.
Wow, thank you very much. I'm humbled by thanking me for coming here while I thank you for doing it. And Marie-Louise, really what you do is wonderful, and I'm very happy that we had the opportunity to acknowledge what you did together with Chancellor Niehammer and Special Representative Ambassador Peter Lansky-Tiefenthal, to recognize you and the organization for what you do for Israel, but I think what you do for Austria, what you do for the world as well. And Hans, thank you for being there always. We appreciate it very much. Thank you, Pastor. You stole some of my words, but I will repeat it, I promise. דביר קופרשטיין, please excuse me. תודה רבה שבאתם. אנחנו פה רק בשביל זה, ואנחנו נעשה מה שביקשת ממני, כולל מחר. Thank you so much for being here. I came 8 days before October 7th to Austria. I don't know how to be an ambassador without October 7th. I wear this like most diplomats. I also wear this. I always do. I wore it for 3 years in the army. I never thought, and then until I was 36 in reserves, I never thought I will wear it. It says bring them back in English, but also בלב שלנו is captured in Gaza. Our heart is captured in Gaza. This is to remind myself, but this is also to remind everyone that I meet that we have these hostages, and as you mentioned, some are forgetting this and are thinking of other issues. Thank you, Zaka, the representative of Zaka, who you will hear about. The toughest job almost in the world Zaka does in regular time, but during October 7th, and I've seen some war in my time, unfortunately, and I cannot imagine what your people do. And if you know the word mitzvah, or in English mitzvah, this is what Zaka does. Thank you also to the many friends that we have here, Charlotta, of course, and the Bring Them Back people in Tillian and the other who are here, who really decided to make a difference and have made a difference. This is, and Shira, Shira Carmon, who's not here, she sang my grandmother's favorite song. My grandmother used to sing it with Bavarian accent when I was a child, so I heard it with an Israeli one. Thank you to our staff here, Jonah Gazola, who's here somewhere, he's here, and also I think Salome is here as in a private capacity. And of course, my wife, Gemma. Sorry for the long introduction. I'm really excited to be here and moved. It has been now more than 700 days in which they are gone. 700 days in tunnels. 700 days of torture, the kind not seen since the dark days of the last century, as we just saw in films and videos coming out. Not much attention in the world, even in Austria. Not much attention to the latest videos coming out. 700 days of starvation. 700 days where family waits by the phone clinging to hope. 700 days of unimaginable suffering. For over 700 days, the Kupperstein family has fought tirelessly to bring their precious bar home, their son, their brother, their loved one. As they join us here tonight, and we have been with Mariana for 2 years now, we stand together in solidarity with them and with every single family of the 48 still living this nightmare, holding on to the dream of reuniting with their loved ones soon. The suffering of these hostages is beyond words, but we cannot and we must not fall silent. Their names, their lives, their humanity must remain at the center of our hearts and prayers. I haven't met Dvir before. I know your brother's story. I know of your father. I know of everything that I can, as someone who's not in the family, know, as we do with the rest of the hostages. We work together with, tomorrow we will meet with the special advisor to the chancellor who deals with this, and I can tell you that Dvir is in the top list of Austrian diplomacy and the chancellor and the foreign ministry, and is brought up in every meaning. How effective it is, how much can Austria do? There is always a question about it, but they are committed, and tomorrow we will have the opportunity to do this as well. We pray for the victims of October 7th and those killed defending their country. We pray for their families. We pray for the tens of thousands that were injured on October 7th and afterwards and are recovering. We wish them quick and full recovery, but we know so many of them will need support in the many, many years to come. We pray for the safety of Israeli soldiers defending their countries, men, women, Jewish, Christian, Druze and Muslims. And we pray for peace in which all hostages are back home. Hamas no longer can rule Gaza and rearm. This is not only for the sake of the Israeli people. This is also for the sake of the Palestinian population in Gaza suffering under the horrible rule of Hamas terrorists. They deserve much better than their leadership. They deserve much better than people in the streets here in Vienna blaming Israel instead of blaming Hamas with what is going on. I will add something, sorry, Marie-Louise, that I didn't plan to do, but last week we saw a letter by Austrian diplomats calling for sanctions on Israel. And this your speech reminded me, Pastor, of this. They know the answers. They want Austria to join resolution and international statements against Israel. They want to change Austrian foreign policy back to darker times. It reminded me of, they want Austria to sign all kinds of declaration by the French or by others, or all kinds of biased UN resolutions. And it reminded me of a call I had with my son yesterday. He wants to rent a house in an apartment in Tel Aviv. And he sent me the lease, the agreement of the lease. And I told him, when you read the contract, you cannot ignore the part that are bad just because another clause in this looks good. If the rent written at double the market part, you cannot say, well, at least the landlord promised to fix the sink quickly and I'll sign it, so I'll compromise. Every clause matters. And yet when it comes to Israel, too often we see a willingness to compromise in precisely this way. A declaration may condemn Hamas, but it very, not really condemn it, but in the same breath strongly accuse Israel of crimes that it did not commit. It may threaten sanctions on Israelis while offering Hamas only a token rebuke. And then comes the excuse that they tell me, hey, but this declaration recognizes Israel's right to exist. We recognize Israel's right to exist. Wow, I'm really thankful for you to do that. I also recognize your country's right to exist. This is a very low bar. The sum of it is, when it comes to Israel, too many are willing to let go of their position. Comfort in company, in joining other countries, is no substitute for clarity of convictions. The danger is that foreign policy rooted in history, morality, and strategic interests, such as Austria has, will be replaced by statements held hostage to the inner political consideration of other leaders of other countries, or for a small majority screaming in the streets outside in Vienna. This does not help anybody, least of all the Palestinian people. The first of the solutions must be to ensure that Hamas will never again control their lives or be able to attack Israel as it did on October 7th. Never again. Never to do it again. But this evening is more than remembrance and support. It's also about gratitude. I really, as I did before, want to thank the Organization for Christians for Israel and all the members. And also I'd like to say that you represent the silent majority. And I'm so glad that the silent majority in Austria has a voice such as the voice that you have. I want to say a few things about anti-Semitism. When coming to Austria, I could not believe what is happening here, certainly what is happening in Europe. It seems that every day we hear of another anti-Semitic attack. It has become normalized. It has become okay. It has become cool to be an anti-Semite. And at a time when it feels easier to look away, you choose to stand up. At a time when speaking out for Israel can come at a cost, a real cost for people, you all choose to, with courage, to continue. Your unwavering support reminds us that there is a moral compass in this world and it points toward truth, standing up for what you believe. As God-fearing Christians, you embody the values that bind us together: compassion, community, and deep knowledge of right from wrong, and your voice, especially here in Austria, truly matters. I'd like to tell you a personal story. I'm here because in the dark times of the Second World War, in the Holocaust, my father, a young Jewish boy and a Holocaust survivor, was taken in hiding by a simple Christian family in the Netherlands. The family business was bakers. He was once interviewed, and in Hebrew, Ofe, baker, and Rofe, doctor, is very, very similar, and my father never lost his Dutch accent. So they wrote that he was saved by doctor, and he was really emotional about it. And I asked him, what does it really matter? He said, I wanted them to understand that this was not the intelligentsia. The intelligentsia forgot about the Jews, let them go. It was God-fearing, simple people who differentiated with what between right and wrong. And imagine if there were so many more people like they were. Tonight, as I look around this room, I see the same spirit in each of you, and I want you to know Israel sees you, Israel hears you, and Israel is grateful to you. I already spoke about Zaka, but I will read it out as well, that Zaka represents the best of Israel's spirit, a volunteer organization that runs toward tragedy when other runs away, that does not differentiate between Jews and non-Jews, between sexual preferences, between black, white, green, whatever. Just do what they need to do. Whether in the aftermath of terror attacks, natural disaster, or war zones, Zaka's mission is simple yet profound: to save lives and to honor and support every human being, no matter who they are. And even they could not prepare for a tragedy as big as October 7th. Your work is sacred. On the behalf of Israel, thank you. Toda rabba v'tizku lemitzvot. You know, in 7 decades, as we speak about just October 7th, in 7 decades, Israel has transformed from a struggling newborn nation to a global leader in technology, medicine, science, and culture. And I'm thanking you for celebrating these 77 years. We are at the forefront of innovation and developing life-saving medical treatment, to leading the world agriculture technology, cybersecurity. Economy is thriving, hopefully will continue. Our cities are vibrant, and our culture continues to inspire millions. And yet, amid this extraordinary success, we remain people deeply connected to our root, our faith, and our history. And tonight we gather not only to celebrate Israel's achievement, but also to renew our commitment to one another, to our shared values, and to the hostages and families still waiting for their loved ones to come home. As it's written in Exodus 17:12, וידי משה כבדים, ויקחו אבן וישימו תחתיו, וישב עליה, ואהרון וחור תמכו בידיו, מזה אחד ומזה אחד, ויהי לידיו אמונה עד בוא השמש. When Moses' hand grew tired, Aaron and Hur held his hands up, one on one side, one on the other, so that his hand remained steadily until the sunset. Just as Aaron and Hur stood beside Moses, you stand beside Israel. Your strength, your prayers, and your unwavering support help us to endure these difficult days and remind us that we are never alone and that we shall prevail. May we continue to comfort one another, to stand together, and to remain steadfast in our belief that light will always overcome darkness. We stand with you. We thank you, and we will do everything we can to bring our hostages back, to make sure Hamas never be able to do October 7th again, and to preserve the unique Israeli-Austrian relations. Thank you. Toda rabah.